Everyone is trying to sell you something, especially in real estate. But when you're buying in a hurricane zone, sales tactics can get dangerous. Just last year, 2 storms produced over $100 billion of damage right here in the Gulf Coast. So here's how to cut through the noise and protect yourself before you buy. Welcome back. I'm Ryan Zachos, Zachos Realty and Design Group. Born and raised right here in the Gulf Coast. I started this real estate firm with my father, who's a retired police officer, and we built this firm off of transparency, honesty, and trust, and not just transactions. I want to meet every person that relocates here, as I view it as an opportunity to build a lifelong relationship. So if you're thinking about making the move, feel free to call, text, email me anytime. Also, you can download some guides that I've put together that can help you in the start of this relocation journey. Now let's dive in. I'm going to give you 5 things that can help you in understanding what it means to buy here in a hurricane zone. Tip 1, know your flood zones and evacuation. Here in the Gulf Coast, not all risks are the same. We have from everything from coastal with surge all the way to inland with very high elevation and no risk of flooding. So you need to know what that risk. The evacuation and the flood zones are very different but equally important. You can use maps like the FEMA map or county resources to help determine exactly where your home is and the risk involved in purchasing that home. Also, zones like VE, VA, these are zones that will be evacuated high risk, and sometimes these evacuations occur just hours before an event because of the track of the hurricane and shifting and things like that. So just know exactly what zone you fall in, what your risk is, not only for evacuation, but also your flood risk. Tip number 2, understand insurance costs and gaps. Note that here on the Gulf Coast of Florida, these coastal areas, insurance is 2 to 3 times the national average. Over the years, there has been a lot of insurance companies that have exited here, and this has led to fewer plans available and obviously at a higher cost. Now, Florida the last couple of years has stepped in, the government itself has stepped in and tried to mitigate some of the costs and make it more affordable for homeowners, but still recognize that there is significant cost in homeowners insurance and flood insurance. On that, there are 2 different things. There are homeowners insurance, which is required if you have a mortgage no matter what, even a flood zone or not a flood zone. Then there's flood insurance, which would be required by a mortgage if you have a mortgage, if you are in a flood zone. So that flood insurance can vary drastically depending on so many factors like the elevation of the home, the surge risk, the wave risk, whether you're primary or secondary residence. All these things can play into a factor of what that flood insurance cost may be. It could be anything from under $1,000 a year to well over $10,000 a year, depending on all those different factors. Also note that high deductibles, low premiums don't honestly save you a ton of money, especially in the event of a hurricane happening. It could cost you a lot more if an event actually happens and you need to call on that flood insurance or homeowners insurance. So just know that in understanding insurance costs and gaps. Tip number 3, look for hurricane ready construction. With new construction or newer construction, you have to have in a home things like reinforced roofs, either hurricane shutters or impact glass. Most of these homes are elevated outside of a flood zone. All these homes are typically block construction. So all these things are important to help mitigate hurricane or risk of hurricane damage when buying a home here. So when you're buying these homes, make sure you're asking about the roof age. You're asking about, is it a block home or wood frame home? If you're asking about the elevation, the flood zone, all these things are so important. Is there hurricane shutters? Is there impact glass? All these things are important and worth considering if you're purchasing here in the area. Now, side note, post-Hurricane Andrew here in Florida, the state and the coastal counties have put together a lot more stricter codes, which has helped improve the construction and the risk of any damage or catastrophe happening to your home. So post-Hurricane Andrew, they require stuff like you have to have reinforced roofs. You have to have either hurricane shutters or impact glass on the home. So these things obviously are important and worth noting if you are looking at buying. It doesn't have to be new construction, but it should be newer construction. I actually live in a home that was built in the 90s. I don't have hurricane shutters. I don't have impact glass, but I have put a new roof on in the last 5 to 10 years. So it is a reinforced roof. It isn't elevated. It's not in a flood zone. It is block home. All these things are so important, and to the fact that I have never sustained hurricane damage with any of the hurricanes that have come through the area. So just know kind of what you're buying, what to look for, and ask the proper questions when purchasing a home. Tip number 4, know what you'll need to prepare. So even if a home has all the things, it has the shutters, it has the impact glass, it's elevated, you still need to do things to prep your home. You need to put on the shutters, you need to move some stuff off the patio, you need to make sure you have a grill with extra propane, you need to have batteries. Actually, I am a member of CERT, Community Emergency Response Team here in the area. I actually have a wonderful hurricane supply list and a prep list. I would love to share that with you. It's not your typical what you'd find on the internet. This is actually very inclusive, very detailed because it is coming directly from CERT. I'd be more than happy to share that with you if you shoot me an email. I can give you exactly what to look for and how to prepare your home properly for this. But just know that number 4 is just because you have the things, you still need to know and you need to take action. You still need to prepare properly for the event of a storm. And lastly, number 5, evaluate the community and the infrastructure there within. Even though a community as a whole might be not in a flood zone, there are oftentimes sections of a community that have poor drainage or areas in which flooding might be a possibility rather than other areas of the community. So you need to have a local expert, someone that knows the streets, to know what streets to avoid and what sections of communities to even avoid. There's been newer construction communities this last fall when we had numerous storms, new construction communities that we thought there would be no possibility of flooding actually have some flooding. So you need to be prepared, talk to neighbors, have an expert that's actually sold homes in these communities to give you an idea of different sections or pockets of communities to avoid. Again, 25% of flood insurance claims happen in non-flood zone areas. So even though it's not a flood zone, doesn't mean that your risk is zero. There's always a risk involved, and there's obviously some risk to very, very, very little risk depending on how you're buying and what to look for in these lots and homes that you're purchasing. Florida's Gulf Coast is incredible, but it demands informed decisions. With the right research, you can live confident and comfortable here. I was born and raised here in Sarasota, Florida. I do not plan on leaving anytime soon. I know the risk involved, but I also know that I purchased the right home in the right community and have the right preparation plan. And so I can stay through the storm. I don't have to evacuate, and I can live confident and comfortable in the home that I purchased. And you could feel the same way and have the same feeling and enjoy Florida for all it's worth, just knowing and preparing properly. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe. Again, I have some great downloads and resources for you, so download those from the website for free. Reach out, call, text, email me anytime. I would love to be a resource for you in this relocation journey. Thanks for watching.